good morning to you from the city, not the town, the city of St. George. I'm George Grant, welcoming you to today's edition of Gudday Grenada. It is the 11th day of December 2018. I want to show you my mug here this morning. Can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see the character on there? Huh? Look at that guy. Hey? That's my companion this morning. At least that's until you folks show up there on Facebook. And already I see that there are folks already out there on the other platforms, such as Radio Genre, GRENADABROADCAST.com, TuneIn, and Radio Garden. Nice of you to join us. Nice of you to join us. Pilgrims, here is the rundown for the next few minutes. We're going to take a look at something we started on Sunday, actually. We had a number of people in here to discuss the issue, seeking justice in Grenada. Huh? Yeah. Well, yesterday morning we pulled out a couple of clips from the conversation I had here on Sunday. And we brought those to you yesterday morning, and we're going to pull out some more this morning. We also have for you the National Report, which we do pretty much every day, as long as it comes in from the GIS. And then, keep our pinkies crossed, Ray Roberts at large. Ray is going to be joining us remotely this morning, hopefully using his mobile device, his smartphone. And then to wrap it up, we're going to take a look at the Parang Festival, which takes place in Carriacou this week. Would you believe I've never, ever been to Parang? Well, one of these days. So, let's get started by taking another look at the pathetic state of our court system in this country. The Grenada Bar Association is running out of patience and has made it clear that it is not their responsibility to find a location for a court in Grenada. They say that they're prepared to assist government in any way possible in addressing the issue and make recommendations as necessary. But the onus lies on government. So says the GBA's bar, what's his name? The bar president, what's her name? Lisa Taylor. Now, as you listen to what you're going to be listening to this morning, I want you to think and tell me, is the GBA sending a very clear message to the government of Grenada? Check this out.
I am concerned that we have been very proactive as bar. We haven't sat back, right? There have been no marches, not yet. We're sitting back waiting for something to happen. We have been involved in this process. When I heard that there was a committee set up by the government to address this issue of the court, I made myself available, and members of the bar, we have walked and we've done but I fear that in some quarters that is being seen as in some way that we have some kind of responsibility. The bar doesn't have a responsibility to find a court in Grenada. We will assist the problem. We will make recommendations. We will, as we have done, say to the registrar when certain facilities were suggested, we're not going to accept that. I mean, I know we're in a crisis situation, and we've become accustomed to accepting substandard solutions because of exigent circumstances. But there's a bar below which we will not cross. And we've played that role. We've made suggestions. We have been hand in hand. But ultimately, it is not the responsibility of the Grenada Bar Association to solve this problem. We are a stakeholder. We will support, we will cooperate, we will help, we will do all that is necessary. But fundamentally, this is a problem for the government of Grenada to fix.
Exactly. You're not the cause. You're not the cause of the problem either.
When people are lauding the cooperation of the bar, That's what a proactive bar is supposed to do. But ultimately, it's you to fix the problem.
So what we don't realize is that, as he stated in the 90s, an incalculable damage is being done to the Grenada society by not having a proper function judicial system. And it's not just the court. There's not enough judges. Isn't that correct, Lisa?
Well, you can't have a judge if you don't have a courthouse for them to be in. And that's literally part of... We had got to the point where, when we were in the line building, largely because of some of the positive spill-off from the jurist project. I don't want to get into that, but just to say, we had got to the point where we actually had 5 courtrooms. So this is what I say, you make a step forward and we're always seemingly going back. And right now, there are judges, because the appointment of judges, to an extent, is the province of the Chief Justice, apart from the other administrative aspects that go into it. Right now, there is at least one civil judge awaiting news about a place where that judge can sit so that he can come to Grenada. I mean, listen, think about one judge in Grenada having to deal with all civil matters for the time being. You know, I chuckle when I hear parties, including the government, boasting about taking people to court and filing injunctions and doing. It's the one judge. I pray that his health will not fail him. Right? So that's where we are. And we shouldn't be here. It's a crisis. I have consistently used that word. I refuse to apologize for it. I used it when I spoke at the opening of the law term. There were those who thought it was a little too excessive, but you have 3 arms of government. And the executive arm is more or less comfortably ensconced at the ministerial complex. The legislative arm is more recently comfortably ensconced at the Parliament building. The judicial arm should receive no less focus and importance. And to the extent that the executive arm, through its action or inaction, I make no apology for saying that, it is a form of, and this has been borne out in court rulings, it is a form of almost oppression. Because to the extent that the executive arm, through its action or inaction, does not do what is necessary to ensure that the resources, the plant and machinery, so to speak, and when I say resources, human and other resources are not in place so that they can carry out the function which the Constitution contemplates, then we have a problem. You have a dysfunctional state.
Yep.
Because a state is not supposed to function through its 2 arms. Each arm is as important as the other.
My reading of the situation is, and it goes outside of justice system, but it has to do with measuring a country's performance by debt to GDP ratio and falling into the clause of the international, the IMF. Okay? They restrict. Why is Grenada not spending money on its infrastructure, like the roads? You realize we still drive on the same roads that I drove on when I was a little boy. And, you know, even people in the country with no education or in the town with no education would tell you, if you keep stuffing things in a bag, eventually the bag's going to bust. Right? It doesn't take any kind of education to come to that conclusion. And I think to some extent, seeking to please the IMF, because China and Singapore and these countries have debt to GDP ratios of in excess of 240%. And they take on it as this: as long as you can service your debt and advance your society and advance your economy, debt to GDP ratios has no significance, right? And we are boasting that Grenada's economy is the fastest growing and the best growing in the Caribbean. perhaps
What is growth? That's my question.
which is your
How do
country?
you measure growth? I mean, I know
The number of buildings you build, the
well,
number
you
of
know,
cars you
the
have on the
economists
road.
have their measures and so on, but I always take issue with these statements of how fast we're growing in one area or by what percentage or the other, because sitting from where I sit and with the admittedly biased concerns I have as someone who is within the judicial system, I can't see how you could take comfort in any kind of economic growth measured in percentage points when you have a
Exactly.
situation like this, where you're treating your judicial system practically as an afterthought, and it is a critically needed pillar for all aspects of development and growth, it seems to me. So maybe, you know, by economic measures, Grenadians will be best able to tell you whether those percentage points mean anything to their daily lives. But certainly within the sphere that I operate in and that I am most concerned about and which I have the responsibility to advocate for as president of the bar, I don't see how you should be embarrassed to be speaking of growth when you have a situation like that to attend to in Grenada. And there cannot be, and again, this is an historic problem. You can count the number of years this has been allowed to degrade and decay to the point where it has reached. I am not going to be the one pointing fingers, but whoever, as a continuum, government is responsible for addressing this. And I will not accept that you can tell me on the one hand that Grenada is growing. And I take your point, Leon, and maybe that is where government officials get excited, because they don't seem to get excited about the nature and extent of the problem we are confronted with when your judicial system is lying in tatters. But then when the agencies that rate things come and tell you, well, listen, from our latest round of interviews, and I know it is coming, we have found that from last year to this has deteriorated to this extent, and therefore we're dropping your whatever, your number from this to the other. That's when they start getting excited. But
Yeah.
then in the intervening period, what do you do to cause a difference?
Okay, there you have it. Now, the people you were looking at there were, first of all, Lisa Taylor, who is the president of the Grenada Bar Association, and the gentleman was Mr. Leon Taylor. Leon is a victim of the legal system here in Grenada. This man had some issues with La Source. He was one of the owners of La Source, had some issues, and this goes back years now. He's been trying to get this through the court system and has failed thus far because of the backlog, or whatever. Folks, let me say, hi guys. Let me say good morning to the folks out there this morning on Facebook. So far, I see Ronald Alexander is watching. Margaret Francis, hi there, Max, Big Apple, warming up in the Big Apple, girl. Earl Joseph Maitland saying good morning. And Matey is also asking, who's the gentleman, George? He looks familiar. Yeah, well, I just told you, Earl, that's good old Leon Taylor. Then we also have Glenn Andrew Mark sending God's blessings to us here in Grenada. Thank you so much. We could always use that, my friend. Fitzroy Adams is also saying good morning. Brian Grimes, is that the Brian Grimes, public relations officer? Huh? I'm honored. Thanks a lot for joining us, Brian. If I got the wrong Brian, I'm terribly sorry. But Brian is saying, refreshing program, easy on the ears and the mind. Thank you, Brian. We're trying. We hope, if you're the Brian Grimes I'm thinking about, we hope that sooner or later you're going to be sitting in one of these chairs back here with us. He also goes on to say, how was the CCJ supposed to abate the judicial crisis? Brian, I think what I'd like you to do is go back to the archives on the GrenadaBroadcast.com website and check out Sunday's edition, this past Sunday's edition of Sundays with George Grant. The excerpts you were just looking at came from that program, and very, very comprehensive discussion we had there, so your answers may be in there. Lori Bridgman is saying, good morning, George. Another day. Let us rise above the level, and let's try those cases in the market right where we were waiting for Morris Bishop to give his speech. Huh? Okay, Lori. And T.F. Richards is saying good morning from Brooklyn. And so is Irene Rattan. I haven't seen Veronica Sandy yet. Where is she? She missed the bus this morning. Yesterday it was you, TF. This morning it's Veronica. Hey? She's going to show up sooner or later, I bet you. Right now, let's take a little break, and we'll come back with the National Report, to be followed by none other than Mr. Ray Roberts. Ray is joining us remotely this morning, should be, and I do hope that it works out, okay? By the way, Earl Joseph Maitland says, yeah, that is the Brian Grimes. Earl, let Brian answer for himself, will you? How do you know? Might be somebody else. Thanks anyway, thanks. Irene Rathan says, getting my daily dose of sunshine to warm up my cold day. I take it that she is somewhere in North America where you guys are freezing your Twinkies off, aren't you? Yeah, that serves you right for leaving us here in Grenada to face the music, huh? Okay, pilgrims, let me take a little break and we'll come back. Who else here? Judy Lewis Joseph has just popped up on Facebook. This time I'm going to go take the break.
Hubbard's, bringing you Frigidaire Christmas cheer. With the purchase of any Frigidaire fridge, freezer, stove, washer, or air conditioning unit, you get a free 3-piece Frigidaire non-stick pot set. Come into our appliance department on the Carronage and Building Supplies Grandlands to get your trusted Frigidaire products and enhance your cooking this Christmas. Offer available while stocks last. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Spread some cheer and show you care with Grenlec's Give-A-Wish promotion. Do you know someone who has had a challenging year and deserves some good fortune, or a worthy cause that needs extra support? Grant them a wish this holiday season with Grenlec. Just pay your bill in full, then write their name, address, and phone number on the top portion of your bill. Add your phone number and drop it into the wish box at any of our Grenlec customer centers, or you can enter online via our Facebook page. 15 customers will receive a $500 electricity voucher for giving a wish to someone who deserves it, and 15 winners will each have their wish granted, valued at up to $1,500. What's more, 230 lucky customers will win $75 electricity vouchers. Spread the cheer this year with Grenlec's Give-A-Wish promotion. Visit our website or Facebook page for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Promotion ends December 21st.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Why wish upon a star? For a bank is better by far. Whatever you're wishing for this Christmas, will give you low interest and no fuss.
Co-op Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Core Bank and you.
Welcome home.
Okay, folks, forgive me. I'm looking at Facebook here on my iPad, and there's a note from Lydia James. Lydia says, "You didn't say hi to me, George." Lydia, I am terribly sorry. That was not deliberate. I'm terribly sorry. I just went back, now that I've noticed your note, I went back and took a look and realized, oh my gosh, yeah, there she is. There she was. I'm sorry, Hi, Lydia. Thank you for joining us this morning. I do hope that you have a wonderful day. Folks, it's 21 and a half minutes after the hour. Let's go to the national report.
Major development work in store for Starfish Grenada Resort. Details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Monday, December 10th, I am Rakisha St. Louis. New management of the Starfish Grenada Resort, formerly known as the Grenadian by Rex Resort, is optimistic that Grenada could become the envy of the region as it plans future development for the hotel chain. That statement from Starfish Resort General Manager Christopher Forbes when he addressed the hotel's 25th anniversary celebrations and staff recognition last Friday. Forbes said on the new management there will be a boost in hotel stock and economic activities.
We are confident that upon implementation, it will undoubtedly boost the hotel stock and make Grenada the envy of its brothers and sisters islands in the region. As we move forward under the Starfish brand, we look forward with anticipation for a great future to our visitors, workers, and the country of Grenada. Taking a quote from Mr. Richard Branson, the first part of it, success in business is all about people, people, people. And over the past years, we have forged wonderful relationship with the numerous long-serving guests who have selected us as their choice of resort during their stay here in Grenada.
By December 2019, the old 211-room property will evolve to 300 rooms and will be rebranded under the new Blue Diamond Resort as Royalton Grenada. Regional Director Anderson Howard said construction will commence in April. He highlighted some of the new services that will be offered in December.
In April 2019, this property will close, and construction on the new 300-room Royalton Grenada project will begin. Royalton Grenada will feature a world-class spa, 8 restaurants, a host of facilities and services appealing to couples, families, and groups. This resort will showcase the signature all-in luxury features guests have come to expect, including the handcrafted dream bed, all-in connectivity with keyless room entry, and free calling to North America and Europe, unlimited reservations, free dining, the unique sports event guarantee, and Diamond Club upgrades with butler services.
The 6 resorts will be absorbed into 2 of Sunwing's brands, Mystic Resort and Starfish Resort. Grenada's former Rex Resort is the first in the Caribbean to be rebranded. As of December 1st, the former Rex Grenadian Hotel was renamed Starfish Resort. Grenada's Fiscal Responsibility Act has again been held up as a model for fiscal resilience. During a recent Governor's Conference panel discussion, Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Dr. Timothy Entwine, said fiscal resilience is necessary to help the region absorb shocks. He believes that having this in place will help the region to bounce back from major events like a financial crisis.
Not only are we vulnerable to shocks as a region, but we have shown that we're not capable of bouncing back very quickly. Certainly the last decade proves that. Some argue it was a lost decade. So for that reason, I am a big advocate on the need for fiscal resilience frameworks. We now have those in Grenada. Montserrat and Anguilla do not have them explicitly, but they're sort of implied, and we are encouraging all of our countries to adopt that. And we believe that as we do that, that will certainly help.
The full program will be aired on GIS Channel 22 from 8 p.m. tonight. This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
Big business don't participate.
Welcome back. While there has been some action regarding commitments to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 2020, with developed countries taking the lead, Grenada's Minister for Climate Resilience, Honorable Simon Steele, says small island developing states are concerned that the progress that needs to be made has not yet been made. Senator Steele was one of the panelists on the high-level pre-2020 stocktake on implementation and ambition event at the UN COP24 in Poland. His statement was centered around the efforts made by Grenada to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions up to 2020, as well as a call for the global community to step away from finger-pointing and work together towards enhanced ambition. Senator Steele, who met with the team Sunday evening for a briefing on the state of play of the negotiations, said the fact that greenhouse gas emissions are still rising today after almost 30 years of climate action is an indication that we have not been addressing the problem with the seriousness that it deserves. He said there must be increased action by all governments at the national and subnational levels. The Grenada delegation also includes Dr. Spencer Thomas, Ms. Roxy McLeish Hutchinson, Mr. Trevor Thompson, Mr. Leon Charles, and Mr. Royden Bihari. And finally, even as residents gathered to witness the lighting of the Marion playing field on Saturday, there was the promise of similar ventures in the not-too-distant future. Parliamentary Representative for St. George East, Honorable Gregory Bowen, identified these as the Queen's Park Cricket Stadium and the Lassages playing field. He also used the official lighting ceremony to commend Sports Minister Senator Norland Cox for his contribution to the project.
I wish to commend and thank the residents of Marion for all their support during the past, at present, and we look forward to I in particular look forward to your continued support. The chairman said that I have delivered, and I want to thank those who worked with me to ensure that this delivery took place. And I want to start with the Minister for Sports. He has been there. He was an integral part of formation of the policy that we will light community playing field. And he is well on his way, working with the Ministry of Infrastructural Development to ensure that two major playing fields in Grenada are lit. That is the Queen's Park Cricket Stadium and the playing field that we have at Lassages. One for international activities, the other for regional activities.
Sports Minister Senator Norland Cox says the ministry is challenged at times despite the many efforts to upgrade sporting facilities. He says once the facilities are lit, some of the challenges can be reduced.
One of the things that we have been challenged with in most recent times had to do with who gets to use the ground and when and for how long. So there is this constant competition between football and cricket, and also athletics to a lesser extent for use of our various grounds. And so now, with lighting, we can see football probably playing a little later on in the night, or they can interchange with cricket. So the demands for the use of the ground would be eased now that we have lighting here. So we believe that this is very important and a very strategic move in terms of allowing sports, the various disciplines, to play for a longer period of time to help them develop better. So that is one of the strategies that we are moving forward with all our other playing fields, and those other constituencies are working towards having their lighting in place.
That story just ended the national report for today, Monday, December 10th, 2018. Let's recap the top story. Major development work in store for Starfish Grenada Resort. On behalf of all those who made this newscast possible, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for viewing. Until next time.
I'm sighing, I'm taking a deep breath, because I'm sitting here reading a couple of comments from Lydia Joseph. Lydia, you're being mean this morning. Lydia, while you guys were watching that GIS report, the national report, Lydia posted here on Facebook, GIS Christmas tree look poor-wee? Lydia, we're going through difficult economic times. I mean, come on. And she also says, Bonje, Gregory running up to bowl. I thought he was doing something else, not bowling. Lydia, what's gotten into you this morning? You're on a roll, aren't you? I also see a note here from Earl Joseph Maitland. He says, this is a good initiative on the government's part. I hope they don't use paying the utility bills as an excuse to up the taxes. Okay, Joseph. Okay. Folks, it's, let's see here, 26 minutes away from the hour. And we got a slight change in plans this morning. I sent an invitation out to Ray to join me, and he was going to do that remotely. That was the agreement we had last night. But while you were listening to the national report, I gave him a call, only to find out that he's actually outside parking. He's somewhere out there getting his car parked. So he's not going to be joining us remotely. He's going to be sitting here. Now, kind of threw me off guard, because as I speak, you hear the door opening. There he is. He's coming in. He's going to be in here with us momentarily. I did not set up for his actual physical presence here this morning, but I am delighted that he is. There he is, walking in with a smile, and we're going to have him sit in this chair back here. See, there he goes. There he goes. So you're going to get a distant picture of him. See those teeth? Good morning, Ray. How are you?
Good morning, George. How are you doing?
Grab a headset over there and let's get set up. Folks, we're just going to take a little break here. And once Ray is set up, we'll be back at you.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical, and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners, and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandance, and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Why wish upon a star? For a bank is better by far. Whatever you're wishing for this Christmas, will give you low interest and no fuss.
Co-op Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Co-op Bank and you.
Spread some cheer and show you care with GRENADA's Give a Wish promotion. Do you know someone who has had a challenging year and deserves some good fortune, or a worthy cause that needs extra support? Grant them a wish this holiday season with GRENLEC. Just pay your bill in full, then write their name, address, and phone number on the top portion of your bill. Add your phone number and drop it into the wish box at any of our GRENLEC customer centers, or you can enter online via our Facebook page. 15 customers will receive a $500 electricity voucher for giving a wish to someone who deserves it. And 15 winners will each have their wish granted, valued at up to $1,500. What's more, 230 lucky customers will win $75 electricity vouchers. Spread the cheer this year with GRENLEC's Give a Wish promotion. Visit our website or Facebook page for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Promotion ends December 21st.
Okie doke, folks. Okie doke, okie doke, okie doke. Now, if you take a look over my left shoulder, he's sitting there. By the way, Ray, a couple of the folks on Facebook are saying good morning to you. Judy Lewis Joseph says, good morning, my friend, Sport Ray. I didn't know your name was Sport Ray.
Happy Judy. Judy is the owner of Guav.
Oh, Judy's in Guav?
Yeah, she owns Guav. She's always highlighting Guav.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And Lydia James is saying, nice. Good morning, Ray, my friend.
Yes, she's in Canada, our good friend also.
Oh, Lydia's in Canada?
Yeah, she lives in Canada.
Lydia was looking at the GIS report a little while ago, and she saw Gregory Bowen running up to the wicket to deliver a ball. It must have been some sort of cricket match. Yeah. And she says, Bon Jay, Gregory running up the ball. I thought he was doing something else, not bowling. How you doing, my friend?
Not bad, pretty good. We have at the moment on. That's why I'm a little late. We have a International Table Tennis Federation 5-day level 1 workshop at the youth center.
Guys, I published that yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
A Jamaican guy by the name of Peter Kavanagh, no relation to the conservative judge.
Okay.
Right. So he's here doing a great job. And the unfortunate things, one of the unfortunate things is that the manuals, the teaching manuals, they did not arrive on time. So I have to keep shuttling to the Olympic office to make copies of the day's lesson.
Okay.
Right. So when I'm finished with you, I'm going to get the copies, take it back to him for the afternoon session.
Busy morning, man.
Well, it's going to be busy unless the manual comes in today. Then I'll be that active up and down on your street.
Okay.
Woolwich Road, that's where you are?
Woolwich, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I'll be very persistent in this area,
All
not
right.
campaigning.
All right. You still playing a lot of table tennis?
Can't stop. Played about 2 hours yesterday.
Wow.
And normally it's about 3-4 hours, but I had to go do some things last night for the newspaper.
Okay.
Right.
And I see that Ken Joseph is an avid player. as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Well, Ken says it's the best tonic for high blood pressure. He said since he resumed playing a couple of years ago, it is at its lowest peak.
Mhm.
So it supersedes all the medication that he's
Okay.
been taking. And in fact, he says it is confirmed by his doctors in Trinidad and in Grenada.
Mhm.
So he had multiple practitioners verifying that what he's doing is the best tonic.
Okay.
Right, so he's enjoyed it. Well, I know you're younger than 50, but if you're older than 50 in the next 2 or 3 years, you can join us.
I would love to see Ken play. You know, I've seen some pictures of him, but I'd like to see some video or in person because he's a heavy person.
But he's very competitive, very competitive.
Yeah.
He plays with the 18-year-old, the 50. In fact, he has no compassion for the young ones.
Really?
His best day is to beat all young people,
Really?
particularly those under 15 that maybe over enthusiastic and quick to call you old man or whatever. He loves that. He would spend the day doing that, in fact. Yeah. Yeah.
Hang on a sec here. Before I let you loose this morning, I see a note here from Anthony DeRiggs in the Big Apple.
Okay,
You know
I know
Anthony?
Anthony. When he comes, he don't miss the beach.
Really?
Picking the grapes and the almonds. One of the few Grenadians do that every time he comes to Grenada.
I think he's going to be here early in the new year, and I warned him already. You better make sure he finds some time for me.
Well, when I see him on the beach, I'll tell him, keep that appointment with George.
Better. He says here, good morning, George. Good morning, Ray. Whenever I see Ray, my mind races back to the years I spent in the Belmont Grand Anse area and PYO and football in Springs Pasture.
That's correct.
God bless you both.
Yeah.
What is PYO?
Well, it used to, I tell you what, as a little boy, I'm still a Catholic and I still go to church nearly every Sunday. We had the Catholic Youth Organization, but there were people from other churches, denominations who joined. And the sisters then thought it was not a reflection of Catholicism. So they suggested to have everybody, and we should find a new name. So we came up with the Progressive Youth Organization.
excuse me.
And that went for, let me tell you how many years, for 24 years. In fact, it fell apart during the revolution. Well, you know, there were people whose parents were either disenfranchised by the revolution or incarcerated or whatever. So they just dropped out, and, you know, people who might have been, well, I suppose in favor, stayed on, and then it just phased away.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was, I mean, I'll tell you who were some of the people in it. I mean, each time Reverend James, who was the chairman of the Conference of Churches, meet me, he says to me, why don't we have a reunion? Osbert James, Elisha Sinto, he was commissioner of Scouts. He always says to me, Ray, why don't we have a reunion? They were younger, but I mean, there were quite a number of people who are today in prominent positions.
Not too late. You guys can still have a reunion.
Well, I guess as we get older, we'll have a lot of time.
Okay. Ray, I know that you're somebody who keeps an eye on things going on around the country. And I know you've been watching the labor issue a lot lately. But on Sunday, we had the president of the Bar Association here.
I saw a bit of it.
You saw a bit of that, yeah?
Yeah.
And, you know, looks like we might have some trouble in that brewing in that area as well. What do you want to talk about this morning?
Well, I'm gonna say a little bit on West Indies cricket for sure, because we were beaten again by Bangladesh, 3 in a row. And if you're beaten by Bangladesh, that means you're going to replace them one before the last, right? And that's not good for Caribbean cricket. And I'm going to also say to you, George, I'm extremely disappointed in the local media coverage of the 4-day West Indies cricket tournament. But just to start with, I didn't hear the whole thing because, again, you were sticking kind of often. And I had to cook also on
He
Sunday
means
too.
buffering, folks. I was sticking.
I still maintain that, and I read the little piece from the government senator George, and I think really and truly, well, I would not give that much credit because, as I said, I'm part of politics, but I really don't trust politicians in power. I really don't trust them. I don't think they remember very well. I would love to see this thing go back to the Privy Council in another form because we have tested it in a couple of forms in the local court. The gratuity.
Oh, the gratuity.
I don't think we have tested that. I think that's why I can't support the Caribbean Court of Justice because as I said, here are things that it's a norm. It's 60 years going and coming, and nobody ever thought of it as a advance payment in the sense that you're doing me a favor. They saw it as part of a package, and here today, I mean, local government, local people, seemingly want to rid workers of that benefit that was put in place by the colonial people who we often, said we should try to forget. So for me, I would love to see, but I don't think the workers, speaking to the leadership, I don't get the impression they will concede on that. They'll concede on perhaps how payments can be made, but the principle of it, I don't think any worker, whether he or she is an NNP or a NDC or whatever, should concede on it. Because if you set that precedent, well, I would say forget law and order in Grenada. I mean, whoever wins, whoever in power could just decide, we're not going to do that, and we're not going to do this, and disrespect the vast majority. And this is a quiet society, I must say. I mean, look the people in France. I'm not saying we should behave like that, but look the people in France. They're not going to accept whether you win 15 or 20 or all. People will say, look, there are some things that you can't do. And if you're doing it, there has to be a genuine explanation why you ought to do it. So I listen to all the legal minds. I've heard it on both sides. But I have the greatest respect for Jimmy Bristol because I think he and his father did a great job when similar sentiments were expressed. And I believe they are right again. So I would love to see it get to the local courts. I suppose there'll be an appeal. Take it to the other courts and let's have a final judgment. Because I think for the people who are 55 years and over, to tell them you're going on with 2%, I think LACOA will be in for some good business because many of them are going to stressed out, having catered for that 25% advance gratuity and then be told it is 2% or whatever percent. I think it's just going to be great injustice.
Well, I think the 2% is off the table now, but as far as I know, last week a proposal was made by government to the unions, and the unions flatly rejected that. But what they're saying is, hey, listen, we are prepared to sit and talk with you guys, and we're not going to back down on the 25%, but we're prepared to sit and talk with you guys about how it can be done.
Okay.
Now, as far as I know, they made a proposal to government, and I imagine that right now, as we speak, they're awaiting a response from government. Is that where the situation is right now?
Yeah, everybody's been quiet. I guess it's Christmas, so you take in the peace of the season, and hopefully things will work out, and there'll be this transition of, I suppose, goodwill at the start of the year. But I don't see the workers backing down on this because, this has nothing to do with party politics. And I have to keep stressing that because I hate to say that there are some people who, unfortunately, have no sense of the discussion, but because of perhaps their loyalty, their blind loyalty, don't see justice. Yeah. So to me, we ought to, George, what is missing in this whole discussion, which is unfortunate, it's a bigger picture. We have, people ask me, and I say to them, I will support the government publicly on radio if they do what the professionals have recommended to other countries and Grenada. Live the age to 65 retirement. I will support it up publicly. Increase the contributory worker contribution to the NIS, like Barbados, not all one time, maybe over 5-10 years, to 7%. So we certainly know how we're paying down the line to those who are coming. But the cheap way, I guess, is to reduce it to 2% or nothing at all and send you home. So I think the bigger discussion, and that's what I'm not hearing. I mean, I listen to radio and people say government can't afford it, but my thing is you have to look at the bigger picture, which is people who are 50 and under must be told that, unfortunately, we have to make a change. You'll retire at 65, and our NIS will have to be increased to 7% incrementally over 10 years, and the government contribution must also increase. And it may not be able to do everything, but it certainly offer a cushion as to how, a buffer, as to how you could treat with those to come in the next 10, 15 years. But that 2% thing is not a starting point.
You know, there are people who, and the government is saying it itself, that they just cannot afford it. But the question is being asked, how come our economy supposedly is booming so much? I mean, we're the fastest growing in the region, if I'm not mistaken. This question came up on Sunday when I was talking with Leon and Lisa Taylor as well. The situation with the court system in Grenada. It seems like we can find funding to do certain things, but other things which may be a priority in the eyes of the Grenadian people, you just can't. You don't have money to do this. You don't have money to do that. And then the question is being asked: where are all the funds from the CBI? Where are all the funds from this booming economy that we have? What goes? What gives?
Well, again, as I said, the unfortunate thing about this society, it seems to be maybe a friendship club, I'm going to use a decent word, where those who could make a bigger contribution in terms of the intellectual growth of the population and the awareness, because they are benefiting from the CBI and the wonderful real estate business that we're doing, are prepared just to ignore things that are going to affect us in a big way down the road, but they may be financially strong then. So careless. I mean, that's what I could say, because to be honest with you, I don't understand why so many people who I know, let's take the chamber. I mean, what is the chamber contributing in terms of to the awareness of the Grenadian people? Yes, they are there to seek their interests, but their interest depends on how viable the wider society is. So what are they offering? Just to say the government can't pay? I agree, the government will have a problem if they continue at the rate they're going. But I'm saying, here is my offer. Tell people who are 50 and under, and I'm saying it and people are hearing me, so I can't change my words, they will have to retire at 65. And at the same time, those of us who are working now, beginning as soon as next year perhaps, we'll have to pay 0.5% or 1% more on our NIS and NIS monthly contribution. So there are going to be a lot of people who are upset. You may lose some votes. But there are things I'm not supporting, even though I'm in politics, because I believe in I have certain fundamental religious beliefs.
Yeah.
And I am one of those who would never support same-sex.
Yeah.
I'm saying it to you on there. I wouldn't support. I will live with them. I would love them. But I don't know why I'm going in a parliament and vote for that.
Well, that was an issue in the first of the referendum. Listen, I don't want to ignore the folks on Facebook here. Ryan is saying good morning, and Veronica Sandy is saying good morning, and she's sorry to be late. She just woke up.
Okay. Things are good.
Spanker. Okay. Ryan is saying, what can bring back West Indies cricket to splendor?
Well, George, I'm glad Ryan takes an interest in West Indies cricket, because let me start with the domestic. Do you know that we have now the 4-day Premier tournament? It's like the English Premier League. The 4-day tournament has started a week ago. 2 games have been completed, including one involving the Windward Islands. George, I'm not a listener to every program, but I'm not too sure I've heard the scores on these games on a consistent basis. In fact, I don't think many people know that there are Grenadians on that team. Yeah. So the point I'm making to you here, George, if the Premier tournament is playing and it is such a secret, I mean, clearly nobody knows West Indies exists. So it starts from what are we in Grenada doing, what are we in St. Vincent, what are we in Trinidad and the Caribbean doing at the domestic level to ensure that a team at the West Indies level is really a quality team. Okay. So Ryan, I would say that in all fairness to you, I think since after we build this big stadium throughout the Caribbean, I would think that The administrative side have not done a good job of promoting the game at the local level. That's
Yeah.
my take. I mean, to be beaten by Bangladesh 2-0 in the test, and in the first one day you lose. In fact, you have not won a match in Bangladesh. Even
Yeah.
the practice match you lose. And
Ryan
the practice
is-
match means that you're playing against a sort of weakened team.
Ryan also has another one here for you. He says the government of Grenada has no money to pay teachers' pension. How come parliamentarians can have an increase in pay?
Well, there are some civil servants that I told you about, one who's paid $21,000 a month.
$21,000 a month.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
people don't make that in a year.
Well, that's true. So that's what I'm saying, that where you find contractor offer workers 21,000 a year, and the person who had the job previously was paid 9,000 something, let's call it 10,000, and was a vastly more experienced person. You're talking about a 30-something year old, early 30s, 21,000. I mean, yes, nobody's denying that the qualification may worth it, but could the economy afford it?
Yeah.
Because the person you had before was international and vastly experienced.
Yeah.
So how, I mean, the gap is so huge.
Yeah.
So I'm saying the same way you found a way to do that for one person. Retiring public officers deserve an opportunity to collect that 25% gratuity. Now you call it advance payment, whatever you call it. And I hate that word advance payment because it was a given. I expected it. That's what I knew that I wanted to stay with the government for. That's why I stayed for 36 years. I knew I had a disability. Nobody would give me that opportunity to throw concrete or anything like that, because you're going to bring 10 buckets, I'm going to bring 5. So what's the purpose of having me?
Yeah, I understand your point. All right, Ray. All right. You know, we could debate this for the rest of the day.
That's
we
correct.
could. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we could debate it again further. Laurie Bridgman's. Oh, hold on a sec here. Laurie Bridgman says, Ray, I think the board of directors has to take a good look at NIS. Something is not right with that. People ain't getting what they deserve. Something is not right here.
Well, I would say to Larry that remember that this thing is not just supervised by the government of the day. The International Labour Organization, they have actuaries come in and study this thing, and they give you their recommendations. And you have to give the Grenada NIS a lot of credit. It's one of the better performing and managed NIS. Yes, we could do a lot more investment, but credit to them that unlike some of the NIS in the Caribbean, they have kept within the range of 20-something% of their funds invested and loan and what have you, whereas there are others, Barbados, I think it was 60-something.
Okay.
Barbados was number 1 at one point, but I think during the last 5 years they might have gone up to 61% of their savings being loaned, lent to whoever it is or whatever it is. But Grenada has kept a reasonable, good rating. I agree with him that it has to offer much more to retired workers and so forth, but again, that is for the policymakers to come up with ideas as to how we could grow this thing. And I don't think, George, we have done a lot of that, because if you look at our investment, it's basically giving workers to build homes and small investments. The CLECO thing, I think the British American, they lost a couple, 10, 15 million, something like 10 million.
Yeah.
Right. So they, you know.
Ray, the policymakers are running out of ideas.
I don't know. I think the country is just lazy.
And there are people out there who are not policymakers, but who have ideas. But the policymakers aren't listening to them. Hello.
Well, that could be true. But I just think, George, let's consider when we were younger. I mean, it seems that we had people who were thinking then, but I think too many of us have become part of a friendship club. You know, it's good for us. Look at real estate; it's doing very well. A few people are making mass amount of money. A few people selling passports. I mean, you can't find criminal laws in Grenada. I mean, the people who commit crimes are very poor. I mean, so why go represent them when you have to buy the stamp and you don't get paid? So really and truly, I don't know. The society has become very complacent and maybe a little too lazy.
All right. That's a good place to leave it. Earl Joseph Maitland says, the ILO in Trinidad told me that they can't do anything about what happens in Grenada. Seems like a matter of convenience.
Well, no, they can't do anything. They could only offer you a recommendation. I mean, let's face it, the IMF can't tell you don't fire a person or don't employ a person. They give you the set of recommendations that is standard practice, best practices recommendations. And it's you to implement it. I mean, you ever voted for the IMF, for the IMF?
Right.
So, I mean, young Maitland, I would think you should see it from that perspective. I mean, it's left to you, the government of the day elected by the people, to see whether or not you will value my recommendation.
Yeah.
You have made a lot of valuable points on your program. And I think the list will show, what, 90% are not even thought of?
Yes, that's it. All right, Ray. Thanks a lot, my friend.
You're welcome, my friend.
Thanks a lot. We have gone past our time limit
Sorry
here.
about that.
Don't go anywhere. Hey, listen, we always have time for you, my friend. Before we say hello, there we go. Before we say goodbye to Ray, I want you folks to be aware that this weekend's a big weekend in Carriacou, Parang weekend out there in Carriacou. I would imagine that a lot of Grenadians are going to be heading up to that island for the weekend. On Friday, December 14th, the Parang train at the GTA Carriacou office grounds, and that's at 7 o'clock in the evening. On Saturday, the 15th of December, a Hosanna night, traditional Christmas carols, Carriacou vendors market, etc., and that's at 7:30 in the evening. And then on Sunday, December 16th, Melee Parang night, Carriacou vendors market. The night will feature 6 bands along with King of Jamu, Hess and the Boys, Lake, Prince Unique, and Impulse. Impulse, by the way, is from Trinidad. So, folks, and by the way, admission to all these events, absolutely free. Carriacou this weekend is where it's going to be at. On that note, Georgie Porgy is going to say thank you so much for joining us this morning. And thank you, those of you out there on Facebook and on the other platforms. As always, we're going to leave you with a parting word. You know, from time to time, a lot of us, I know me for sure, we all face temptations, okay? And sometimes you wonder, boy, just how the heck am I going to get out of that? Well, I think this morning's scripture deals with that particular issue. It's just one verse, and it comes from the book of James, James chapter 4, verse 7, which says, "Submit yourselves then to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you." Something about lead us not into temptation? Yeah. Keep that close to your hearts, folks. So, on that note, thank you so much, my dear friends. And by the way, a reminder that every Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, we look forward to having your company for Sundays with George Grant. And we hope that this Sunday morning is going to be absolutely no different. Join us again tomorrow morning and every weekday morning at 9 o'clock for another edition of Gudday Grenada.